Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Sarawakku sayang. A very good morning to our distinguished guests, participants and viewers. We extend to you a very warm welcome to the Sarawak Annual Librarians Colloquium 2022, or widely known as SALCO 2022. My name is Nofa Izan Abdul Jalil, wearing a traditional headgear of the Bisaya ethnic. I am your host for the event. I would also like to greet the Chairman, Board of Management of Pustaka Negeri Sarawak yang berbahagia Tan Sri Dato' Amar Dr. Haji Hamid Pugo, Presiden Persatuan Pustakawan Malaysia, Dr. Ghazali Muhammad Fazil, Acting CEO of Pustaka Negeri Sarawak and Chairman of the SALCO 2022, Tuan Haji Japri bin Bujang Masli, and of course our panelists and speakers, our moderators and librarians, viewers and participants. Ladies and gentlemen, the SALCO 2022, hosted by Pustaka Negeri Sarawak and Persatuan Pustakawan Malaysia, sponsored by Emerald Publishing, is back on its 6th year with the theme Post-COVID Sarawak Libraries Way Forward, which will be held virtually for a total of 3 days, starting 21st until 23rd of September 2022. Also, today we are absolutely delighted to have our distinguished Chairman, Board of Management of Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, to present the opening remarks of the SALCO 2022. Please give a warm welcome to Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dato' Amar Dr. Haji Hamid Pugo.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Let me first welcome you to our Sarawak Librarians Colloquium 2022. Please be reminded that a colloquium is held to debate the issues and challenges that we face in carrying out our duties and responsibilities, and perhaps especially in trying to move up the scale. A colloquium is meant to facilitate the meeting of minds, to discover and to invent solutions to our challenges. Obviously, the role of librarians is no longer the collector and custodian of books and documents. It has long been extended to include initiating, promoting, facilitating, and ensuring continuous and lifelong learning. And this again is not restricted to students at schools or tertiary institutions, but to every citizen, including those who are reluctant and unwilling to learn or to engage in learning. Indeed, it is especially for those. And we must persuade and influence them to change, and to tell them as well as to demonstrate to them the value of education. We must make them understand that a nation cannot prosper without a competent and educated population. If you want to destroy a nation, they say, all you have to do is destroy its education system. The new tasks or portfolios, if you like, for librarians are even more pertinent with the applications of ICT in all that we do every hour of our day. It is crucial that everyone, young and old, rich and poor, here and there, has the understanding and skills to use the internet and digital applications to be comfortable in today's life. There is no running away from it. And as librarian, you have little choice but to lead the way. It begins with you, and you have to spread and teach the knowledge, or at least organize events and causes to enable that to happen. Only then we will have the right and competent human assets to face the challenge or challenges in our future. What are these challenges? At least there are three. One is economic prosperity, two, social inclusivity, and three, environmental sustainability. Economic prosperity is not just the increase in GDP. If there is a disparity in the distribution of income, there will be a clash between the have and the have-not. Prospect of growth will be disrupted, and we will be stagnated. The problem often is not that there are not enough resources, but it is the issue of distribution. For this reason, we must have a good policy on social inclusivity, in which no one is left behind in the provision of every opportunity. And to make sure that in all that we do, we ensure that we adopt a policy of environmental sustainability. We minimize wastes. We go for transition from fossil fuels to clean energy. And we establish carbon capture centers and so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that you will have a very fruitful colloquium, and thank you for listening. All the very best. Thank you again.
Our heartiest appreciation and gratitude to Tan Sri for the opening remarks. Distinguished guests, viewers and participants, setting the tone for the year's colloquium is our keynote speaker. With that, please give a warm welcome to Dr. Ghazali Muhammad Fazil, the President of Persatuan Pustakawan Malaysia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you, the organizer, for inviting me to be the keynote speaker for this colloquium. Okay. Let me open up my slide. Okay, the topic that I have chosen today to share with you is libraries as asset to the nation. Okay. When I discuss library as an examination, I'm going to cover, firstly, I'm going to talk about COVID-19, what COVID-19 had done to us, and in fact we did great actually, and the way forward from there. Libraries as an asset to the nation, this is where I'm going to share based on my visit to libraries around Malaysia. I visited almost about 300, slightly more than 300 now. I'm going to continue to do so. These are the things that I discovered, important thing, especially impacts, valued impacts that we have created as a library for our community. I'm going to share some of them, not all. I don't have to share everything, but I'm really going to share the pertinent ones. Then thirdly, I'm going to discuss about libraries and librarians as engine of growth, how we're going to move forward from our lesson from the COVID-19, the pandemic, through what we have learned and through what we are, that's going to explain, and then how we're going to move forward. Lastly, I'm going to use an example of the new opportunity exists today for us, which is knowledge tourism, and then to paint the picture how we're going to develop based on our understanding, our learning, and our product, a knowledge product for knowledge tourism. Okay. The pandemic, yeah, this is the history of the pandemic. I don't want to go through everything, but you know that from 16 March 2022, what happened? It's like a pendulum. We are moving, going up and down, certain decisions made and whatnot until now. You are, alhamdulillah, we are in an endemic now. So a lot of things that we have learned through this process. For example, initially, we, just like anybody else, we got caught up. We stand to an extent. We do not know what to do. We don't know how to react. But over time, we learn quickly. A good thing, we learn quickly. And now the hindsight of this is actually, we need to put down a framework called BCM, or Business Continuity Management. This is something that we introduced during the PTPTM this year. Okay. Now with the BCM, we're sort of like preparing ourselves for the next eventuality or disaster, if you may. Then, once we are about 2 or 3 months with nothing to do, trying to think what sort of thing to do, then we started to create awareness online for our users. Initially, this awareness is telling our users, informing our users that we are closing our physical library, and stating that other services like online databases are still open and they can access. In fact, to a certain extent, we also share tips on how to cope in this situation. You know, in the pandemic, everyone and the first time experience the pandemic, everybody do not know what to do and all that. So we provide information in a way, books to read, in a way giving them assurance that everything is okay, is fine, and to a certain extent manage their mental issue or possible mental issue. There are already symptoms of that happening, so we actually, it's one of the solutions for that. Quickly also, most of us populate our social media with a lot of things. So to make sure first, information, the right information is accessible, because we do also address fake news at that point in time. When we open our repository, we actually open flux of good resource, facts basically, information that people can trust and all that. So that gives certain comfort to Malaysian as well. And on top of that, we as a librarian quickly get to know all these conference apps like Zoom, Google Meet, what else, Team and whatnot. So we got comfortable to do things online. We do online meeting, we do online discussion, we do a webinar and whatnot. And we also doing it almost every day. We have somebody actually online doing this thing. So this a good thing. So we not only were online, we are mastering new things, new skills quickly at the same time. Now that shows to me that we are firstly very adaptable. We are adaptable. The good thing, although we are stunned initially, we don't know what to do, but we quickly will adapt. We sense the market, we sense what happened, then we adapt ourselves, and to some extent also we are flexible in the whole thing. For this, actually, throughout the pandemic, we have raised the bar for us, and we have created a new perception to the people that we matters. We know what we're doing, and we are helping the nation. So the thing is now we need to leverage this. We have to keep the momentum going. We cannot let we have to continue to be effective on that. So there should not be a gap between what we have done during the pandemic and now moving the endemic. So I'm going to share some examples, some perspective moving forward. Okay, libraries as asset to the nation. As I said earlier, these are observations that I got from my visit to libraries, especially Pustakaan Desa around Malaysia. Some of them also I conducted online session asking, like libraries in Sabah, certain extent Sarawak and whatnot. Okay, what the main thing that my observation is that I discovered that we have created high valued social economic impacts, yeah, to the society. Okay, and this social economic impact actually not, to some extent, not being reported, not captured, and we're not aware of that, and we're not seeing it as what it is. Okay, let me talk through this. I'm going to use 3 examples. As I said, I'm not trying to cover everything. I'm just going to take 3 main points. Firstly, progressive mindset. Okay, some of the success on the ground actually owed to the fact that some of us understand the big picture. Okay, understand the picture means based on the vision, mission, and our strategic plan, we know what to do. What we know what matters actually. So with that awareness, we understand the whole ecosystem. Ecosystem is something that is a complex environment where everyone fits, linked into each other. We are in the business of complexity, meaning to say we deal with human. Yes, we are managing knowledge. We even, in fact, we are managing information that is complex as well. And for the user, once we serve the user, human being human, they come with all sort of form requirement and whatnot. So that's where the complexity came about. And we need to understand the ecosystem, because in the library world, we are not alone. We have publishers to take care, to understand. We have writers, we have and all that. So it's not just us. And we also need to understand the entire value system, including the value system of our libraries, our own library sector, academic library, public libraries, all those persons and all. We are not alone. We are not silo, to say. So the successful people or our colleagues have this kind of thinking. And it is about outcome. Although this is not really apparent, but I believe it is all about outcome. It's not KPI, it's not numbers, it's all about outcome. So a progress mindset, if we do not have this, we need to move from the numbers game more to outcome. So need to address and see what's the outcome. I'm going to share some of the outcome that I discovered, yeah. And the other concept is our resources are global. I understand, I've been talking about this, but when I went around, I saw and discovered example of this, what I mean by our resources are global. For example, one library in Melaka, Johor, another library recently in Kelantan, both Pustakaan Desa, they're actually operating using zero budget. Okay, but they managed to run event as, I think, a really progressive event and big event without using any fund from the library. Whose money is it? Are they? So they're actually using resources from the stakeholders, from the partners, from for example, in state, from the ADON and all that. So these are not our resources per se. So we get support, fund from others. So that's what I mean by our resources global. Worry less about the budget. Worry more about the outcome that we're going to achieve. Inshallah, God willing, the budget, the fund will come to us. Now, these two libraries that have shown and proven that as well. Okay, that's what I mean by our resources are global. Okay. Number 4, the successful mind will look at problems as opportunities. Okay, forever, if you look problem as problem, it's continue to be a problem, it's going to bother us. So those that successful actually look at problems as opportunity, look at this differently. Okay, in terms of the second point, solution to issues, I discovered a lot, but these are just few examples. The first one is society babysitter. You know, babysitter. One good example of babysitter, we joke about it, that parents normally would send their children to the library and make the library just like their nursery and all that, and leave their children there, and we laugh about that. But think again, why they are doing that. Okay. Why they are doing that relate to not only the need for them to find a place for the children. Why they need library is because library is the safest place to them. The safest they can trust the librarian with the life of their children. So that matters. So if you measure the impact of that, right? I think it's measurable. Okay, that alone sits very well and high value for us. In other sense, it's a lot to do with social issues avoidance. For example, if these mothers or parents do not have these libraries to send their children on, what's going to happen to the children? What potentially children on the street going to be? I think you know what's going to happen to these children. So with the library, with them in the library, not only they're safe, we give them lesson, we do activities with them because we are knowledge institution and all that. So we in a way educating, developing this young mind into somebody that can be successful in the world. In that sense, we are avoiding them from turning to be children on the street. You know what can happen, drug addicts, whatever it is. So that's one thing. So the whole thing is about social. We manage to avoid them becoming a social burden, social issue to the society. So that's what I meant, social issue avoidance. A lot of sense, and I've seen a lot, that we are playing a role of buddy, definitely mentor, even until the user, the children grew up to be somebody, they still come back and call this our colleague at the library as kakak, cikgu and whatnot. So that sense, connection, sense of belonging. Definitely a lot of us become teachers to these children in the library, because one extreme of this fact is that I discovered in Sarawak that the student was saying that in fact they learn more in the library and learn better in the library from the librarian, from people working in the library, than the school. Counselor, definitely, I do not know how many lives we save. Particularly, I'm going to choose the example of Teluk Intan Public Library. A broken family children became a street children. They brought the children inside the library, educate them, give them comfort, whatever it is. To cut the story short, now they are successful. Again, social issues avoidance, but just imagine one children so that we save, we are actually saving the whole generation of that person. That's tremendous value that we do not account, impact that we do not account, values and impact that not exist in any of our report. Okay, economic growth, we laugh also about it, but I discovered through whatever event that we do. I'm just going to use one example, simple example. We run cooking classes. Cooking classes just to fit. Initially, we use this event to pull as a pull factor to bring people to the library, to bring the moms and not to the library, and we look at this on that surface. But we do not take a longer view, which is looking at what happened after the classes. We discovered what happened after the classes is that, for example, recently I found out in Selangor, they run kelas membuat roti. what happened was two of the ladies that attended that class buat roti became and has kilang buat roti now. So that's the impact that we have created, right? Okay. If you look beyond what we're doing, we have created, this is huge new business. We develop new entrepreneur, and we develop our community, not just socially but economically, by having just simple program like, for example, memasak. Yeah. There are so many other examples. I think you know it. So that's what I mean by economic growth. So this again are not accounted for. They are not in our report. Okay. I mentioned about our library being safe to the mothers and all, so there's so much that they trust the life of their children to the library. Yes, it is a safe haven. To a certain extent, I've met a family in Selangor who actually every weekend came to the library because why? Because the library is tempat dia punya riadah. It's a Malay term word riadah, but actually it's a weekend retreat for them to be there, because not only it is safe for the children, whatever, we have provided enough environment, facility in there for them to be there and to enjoy themselves. Now, what does that mean to us? Okay, what it means is we need to develop a new, among other things, yeah, we need, apart changing mind, whatever it is, among other things that we need, important thing we need to look at how we measure ourselves now. We need to develop new measurement framework for us. We just cannot depend on the numbers. Okay, how many borrowing, coming to learn, visitor, and whatnot. We cannot just. We need to take a step beyond the numbers, which is actually the outcome. Things that I've shared with you before. So we need to start to look at that and have them in our balance sheet, so to speak, and being reported. Okay, one way to reporting them is to write or to provide new narrative about us. Okay, narrative in the sense of, if you want to continue to report using statistic, improve that statistic, but the next 2 pages, whatever it is, write a report in a narrative form about what we have done, the impact that we have created. That's what I just mentioned just now. All in all, having said that, if we do this properly, actually, we're going to create a new image for us and kill certain negative perception of us. Off the back, I just camping anybody on the street, any children on the street, I ask them, what is the librarian's job? Off the back, most of them will answer without fail, susun buku, cap buku, or the slightly better, managing books and library. But we are not. Actually, we are doing much more than that. So how are we going to change that perception? Maybe through this, through changing image, through right reporting and whatnot, we're going to create, and the narrative we create will change this perception, create new image for us. Okay, let me move to libraries and library as engine and growth from the perspective what we need to do, yeah, as a person, as an individual. One critical thing is we need to have a new mindset change. Really, everybody need to change. Yeah? It's not just the management, it's not just everybody from top to bottom need to have new mindset change, new kind of thinking. The first thing is about leadership and being strategic at all time. It's about everyone, as I said. It's not about position. Leadership is not position. It's not who you are, what you do, and the kind of thing that you develop. Okay. The first thing I already mentioned about big picture. The big part of big picture is to have a ability to make decision. Decision making is very important for all of us. What happens if we do not make brave enough to make decision at any level where you can make decision? You compound the fact. You ask, you for example push that decision making up to the next level, and then that next level push that decision making up to the next level. So what happens? Your top management will be bombarded with decision that you can make at your level. So what happens? You will create a stressful organization, stressful library. So we do not need that. The worst is not making decision, because if you do not make decision, you stop everything below you. So in a big picture, apart from I've just shared just now, the other important thing that we need to be particularly worried about is decision making. We need to be brave, have that capability, have that capacity to make decision, and be confident enough about our decision making. Okay, because we have all the information. We are not just making decision from or plucking from the air. We are decision making based on knowledge. And part of leadership as well, and being strategic, is managing your circle of influence. A leader, you cannot really influence upward your bosses, look at that. There's a way, yes, but it takes time and all that. The best way is actually to create your circle of influence, your colleague, your peers across the board, horizontal, across the sector and whatnot, even outside your organization. Okay, you need to create that. You have to have that strong. That's why we need to work together more collaboratively. We need to be more open, because this will create that circle of influence among us. The other thing that when we talk about leadership, we tend to forget that leadership is two parts of leadership. First, actually, developing ourselves, develop self. First, we need to know who we are, what makes us tick, and for that. So, if there is a gap, whatever, we need to develop ourselves through whatever means we need to. On the other thing, on the other hand as well, if you have somebody below you, you need to develop others. You need to develop them. You cannot just leave them the learning by chance, on chance. Okay? You need to have a structured learning program for everybody, especially those below you, so that we manage the gap of learning on that. And be mindful, learning is not just going to courses, attending a seminar. There's a whole gambit of learning tools and pedagogies that we can use. The best is on-the-job learning. Probably as your staff to run or head projects and whatever it is, so that they build their confidence and whatnot. So, in terms of leadership, being strategic, these are, apart from other things that are important, these are the things that we need to be mindful about. Passion and belief, this is the main driver for all those that I've seen that successful. Okay, and definitely it's not about qualification, because I've seen successful library managers, especially in the Pustakaan Desa, they are not even library science graduate, yeah. So they are just SPN holder and all that, but they are doing great. So that's proof to me it's not about qualification. Once you understand what you need to do, once you understand the concept, when you need to understand what outcome need to cover, you do it. And passion and belief will drive you, because it certainly is the main driver. This passion and belief will break all the barriers that there is to it. That's why these people will look at problems as opportunities, because that inner self, that belief, drive them forward. And of course, definitely they do things beyond their paycheck. They don't even think about what they're getting every month, because they are just doing for their community. Especially those local who work in their kampong, in their village, they're actually working, they understand it's about their community. Okay. The mindset change need to happen at all levels. So there are the things about mindset, but I'm just covering this important thing, so that the rest I think you understand about mindset change. So I don't want to delve a little bit, because I don't have much time here. Okay. Then when we talk about mindset change on that, then what are we really managing in a library? As a librarian, as library professional, as manager in a library, what are we really managing? To me, we are actually managing knowledge, which is the way we understand it, information and learning. But actually more to that, to be detailed. But specifically, for this discussion, I'm just going to use these two. What are we not managing? We are not managing place and material. We're not managing a library. But by training, somehow we are trained with a conceptual, a subconscious idea that we are managing place and material. I've been saying we are not managing books, we are managing what inside the books. What inside the books are information, knowledge, learning and whatnot. So knowledge basically. Because of we are managing place and material, because we are trained to be that, our subconscious decision making is always based on managing place and decision. I don't want to dwell on that deeper. I'm just saying that Because of that mentality, that thinking, we decide first, whenever we want to decide anything, first we think about the safety of our books rather than the user. It's always the book, the place, rather than our user. Okay, some of us change, we move along, and then, but still we need to get away from that kind of thinking. For us, it has to be knowledge contact decision making, as I alluded to the fact just now. Or we are in a knowledge institution, we have immersion with us. So how do we give assurance that to our user that we're providing a good information? Because we are knowledge based. So our decision, our contacts, all be knowledge based. We cannot fail if we're to do that. Human matters most. Yeah, talking about information, knowledge within people, material, processes, and relationship. There's two parts. Later on, I'm going to detail two parts of knowledge. What are we managing? But human is definitely something that you need to care properly, because us as well, we are actually a knowledge asset, a working knowledge asset. So you need to understand that. So we matters, our user matters, human matters, and all that. And in truer sense, if we understand this, if we managing knowledge, actually we are in a truer sense, we are a lifelong learning center. Because that's what it is. That's what we are. We're not just providing books, material, we are providing other things, our resources. Come what may, we are providing all those knowledge and putting it together and then repackaging them to some extent and giving back to our user for decision making, for them to use, and creating high value social economic impacts along the way. Okay, now let me detail out a bit quickly about knowledge. Yeah, so simplistically, knowledge asset can be divided into two. The first part, as my analogy using iceberg, that what we can see, feel, touch, and whatnot is actually this that we are very familiar with: document, videos, numbers, databases, repositories, manuals, pictures, and books. These are collectively known as explicit knowledge. A tacit knowledge that we converted, transformed into something tangible that you can feel, right, and what it is. So this is explicit. This is very clear. We are very good at managing this. Below the surface is actually skill, know-how, competencies, experiences, talent, lessons learned, brands, relationship. All this and others is actually tacit knowledge. So we have not been managing tacit knowledge to a certain extent properly. There's a lot more underneath the surface. The high valued knowledge that we need to manage, that tacit. So just imagine if we combine all this tacit explicit, we can easily develop or coming up with several knowledge products. For example, I'm using an example now, the opportunity that came about recently for knowledge tourism. Okay, I think if you understand, you must get back to me later and I can explain a bit more. Okay, I'm moving very fast here. Okay, knowledge tourism. What is knowledge tourism? I pick up this caption from Center of Tourism, University of Gothenburg, when they talk about they want to develop something and they call it knowledge tourism. This is what I've been talking about recently at the higher level. What it is actually? It is basically one, holidays and leisures, or we spend our leisure time to learn. No matter where and how, it's actually our holiday, our free time, leisure time, we go to learn. Okay. The best part is that we already have this knowledge product. For example, we have museum, we have history, we have zoos, we have aquarium, learning center, whatever it is, that churning out and producing this type of knowledge product where you can go and learn. For example, you want to learn about animal, you go to zoo and whatnot. Okay. Basically, it's a reason to travel to increase knowledge. So that's what the definition of knowledge tourism by Center of Tourism, University of Gothenburg. Okay, let's explore this in the context, and I want to suggest a small framework how we can grab this opportunity. Okay, now knowledge tourism, of course, we're going to develop. We have our knowledge product. What are they? Basically, firstly, knowledge asset. Remember I talked about tacit and explicit knowledge. Okay, both. Okay, this knowledge asset could be unique. What is example of unique knowledge asset? Example of knowledge asset. For example, I discovered in Johor, Melaka, there's a grave in the shape, the whole graveyard, the shape of the grave, or the grave actually, the shape of buah belimbing. Stuff work. Okay. The sad part is nobody knows the history of that place or that grave anymore. That's the sad part. This is unique. Okay, example of unique. History and heritage, I think all of us understand. What history, the knowledge is history about a place, incident, whatever it is. Expert. They are expert within our community, within our sector. They are available or residing in our kampong or village that we can use, we can leverage to do something. So this is tacit knowledge. A lot with expert, I say we have a lot of tacit knowledge. Yeah. Place and location, I think we understand this. If you have good location, good place, you can turn that into a tourism product. It is a knowledge product, to some extent, knowledge product. Learning, obviously, especially places with a lot of learning institution and things like that, for example, like Bangi and places like that. Specific incident. What is specific incident? Like the recent what happened at Yan, when the kepala air turun from the bukit and create a huge disaster for the people in Yan. So that's specific incident that we can turn and develop into a learning product, a knowledge product that we can get share with the rest. In fact, the rest of the world, if you want, through social media. Obviously, food. We have a lot of food in Malaysia. And certain states are famous for their food. I think like Melaka, Asam Pedas, Kelantan with Budu, Chalok in Melaka, and whatever it is around Malaysia. We are so famous with food, so different types. So this another unique knowledge asset. It is knowledge asset. Remember, food cannot come just like that because they receive somebody has to cook it or whatever. And obviously technology. I think you understand. I don't need to explain. So what can we do? What we can do, we can repackage all this asset that we have in our kampong, in our community, among our community, to be a tourism product. For example, we do a specific guided visit based on knowledge asset. Whatever the knowledge asset is, we do a guided visit. Just like museum, just like other thing, just like visiting historical places. So similarly, if we get a good knowledge asset, we can develop a specific guided tour. Definitely seminar, workshop, conferences, and then pertaining to Sarawak at local, at our at the kampong, a certain location that can happen definitely. Similarly, with meet the expert. I know there's a lot of experts residing in Langkawi now, certain places. This expert. If you have identified the asset within your locality, maybe you can come and meet them to discuss something. I want to have this knowledge program, whatever it is, and let them address our visitors, whatever. It can be done. Local history, heritage holiday, I don't have to explain that. I think you all understand. Knowledge camp, Sarawak, you guys are doing knowledge camp, and I was told for this year actually overbooked. Not even children, the parent also join in as well. Okay, so that's how successful, that's how it is. That's knowledge product, that's knowledge tourism for you guys actually. Okay, can build on top of that. Arts and culture, definitely. I know now is somebody that I can call friend now, actually open his gallery and his studio in Ulodong. Ulodong in Raub, places that nobody think that there be gallery and all that. Yeah. What happened? So now actually not only local go there and visit and try to learn about art from him, foreigners as well. So foreigners with their foreign tourist dollar bringing together with them. You know what happened to Uludong now? It used to be that if you want to eat at night, all shop will be closed at 3 p.m. or best at 6. But now, if you want to eat at night, there's other shop available. They can go to eat, to have dinner or whatnot with your friend. So that's the impact of this tourism, impact to the place. Yeah. So vibrant place now. Okay, family and community definitely. These are some of the example possibilities that I can think of about knowledge tourism, how we can be part of it, how we can address, we can take, appreciate and grab this opportunity for all of us. We just need to think a bit outside the box, think what we can do, and we can improve not only us, but also definitely our society, our community, actually our community. Again, we are actually creating a new economic impact for our community. Okay, in conclusion, I've shared about COVID-19, the pandemic, and what we have done. We did great, basically, and then we need to build on top of that and move forward with it. So we need to continue to push the frontier of this learning to be great all the time. So to be great all the time, that's why I share the perspective of what I've seen, what we have created now, already creating value impact outcomes that we need to look at more seriously and do a lot of that. Okay, and to certain extent we need to develop certain new measurement framework to measure us as a library, as a librarian, to change our image, to change our perspective, basically not, if you want to go for that, actually basically to say to the government, to our stakeholders, we are actually doing a lot, contributing a lot to the nation. Libraries and librarian as engine of growth, I've shown you certain things, certain aspect what need to be done, and other things, including the mindset change, which is ultimately that we need to do if we want to progress further. Last but not least, I give an example of a subject of knowledge tourism which came out recently for us to think about, and how we can repackage whatever that knowledge asset that we have already, that can be for our user, for our visitor, and creating another economic impacts for our community. Okay guys, with that, thank you very much for listening to me. Once again, I thank the organizer for inviting me for the Ustaz Tama. And if you have any question, or you want to get in touch with me, yes, please do get in touch with me. I can help you and try to explain everything, even to extend that if you need another online session with me, I can do that, insyaAllah. All the good thing, perkara yang baik datang daripada Allah SWT. All the bad thing, the mistake or not, is me, from me as a human thing. So, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you everyone. Yeah, you are very important and strategic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ghazali, for the keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce our speakers and moderators for today's session. Presenting the first paper, please welcome Mr. Kiprawi Binsani from Polytechnic Kuching, Sarawak, on the innovation during a pandemic experience sharing, co-written with Mr. Raden Muhammad Ismanto Hamdan, Mr. Helmi Hansen, and Ms. Feliska Lina Gumpet.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. I'm Kiprawi Sani. On behalf of our group member, I would like to present IKIP Stock Tech Checking. We are from Polytechnic Kuching, Sarawak. This is a presentation outline. Introduction, problem statement, objective, function, requirement, development process, effectiveness, and benefit. First of all, I want to introduce our organization. All of us are from Pustakaan Seri Kenyalang, Polytechnic Kuching, Sarawak, established since 1988, and now we have 30,000 collection, 9 personnel, and more than 4,000 students for the year 2022. And then next one is, what is iKeep? iKeep is a system to count number of the books, and this system is stand alone, and hopefully it will helping a small library. Of course, if free. So iKeep is not library management system. So I want to clarify with our counterpart. iKeep is not library management system. Also, iKeep is also not a book lending system. It's a system to count the number of the books. So next slide is problem statement from our library. What we found that if we do a stock take process, it's take a long period of time. Of course, we do it manually, one by one, shift by shift, and then we need to close our circulation counter. And then from from other libraries, they also mention about stock take process take a long period of time, and then they still do it manually, and some of them facing insufficient workforce. Okay, next one is objective about the product. We try to solving stock take problems such as time, and then still do it manually one by one, step by step. And then next step is we want to help other libraries such as Pustakaan Desa, also our counterpart at the college community. And then this system is to count the number of the books. This I want to clarify, to count the number of the books. And then this system also can update the number of the book after we do the stock take process. And then next one is requirement of the system, hardware and software. First of all, only needs Microsoft Excel, so everybody know Microsoft Excel, and then everybody can use it. Next one is Google Drive or OneDrive. This one is for the storage. And number 3 is external scanner. So it's very simple. Smartphone and USB OTG adapter. This adapter to connect the external scanner to the smartphone. And then next slide is development process of this system. Stage 1, we do some brainstorming and discussion to get the ideas, to get the strength and weakness of our organization. And then we success to develop the system. After that, we register our product with my IPO. And the next stage is we do some promotion through Borneo Innovation Festival 2021. Here we won silver medal, and then we also joined the competition during the Persidangan Tahunan Pustakaan Malaysia 2022. Here we get a bronze medal, and the latest one is we represent our institution to KIK Federal Agency 2022 Sarawak level. And I hope in the next stage we hope in the future iKeep will use in other agencies. Now we still in process, College Community Coaching, Institute Latihan KKM, and Pustakaan Desa. And then we also open to our counterpart from other library if they want to request iKeep. And next slide is effectiveness. We done our trial at 4 libraries. Each library have their own number of collection, and then they also mention about how long they take to do the stock take process. For example, library A 7 weeks, library B 8 weeks, library C 6 weeks, library D 30 weeks. And then during the trial, we also found that we got different of time. There are a lot of factors like time, safe, how the internet perform that day, like that. And from that, we can conclude average to do the stock take process using the iKeep is 1 book equal to less than 1.1 minute or around 66 seconds. So our product is about easy to use. Only need Microsoft Excel, Google Drive or OneDrive, and smartphone, and very minimum requirement. And I keep also can save a lot of time. We can do our stock take process effectively. We can do it very fast. We no need to do it manually anymore. So if using iKeep, so we can do it. We can save a lot of time. And next one is save cost. Of course, if you use iKeep, you can save a lot of money. So we intend to give this system free to our counterpart to have the small library, because we focus to the small library. We understand how they face. We understand the problem that they face, short of human resource, short of budget, and so on. And this is the picture during the trial. This is it's not mistaken, it's a Pustakaan Desa. Also, this one also at Pustakaan Desa. This one is at College Community Kuching. This picture during at Institute Latihan KKM. This one is during the KIK 2002 Sarawak level. So if you want to use the system, you can contact us library@pks@gmail.com or phone number 845-596. So that's all from me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
What a great starter. Thank you, Mr. Kiprawi and the team for the great sharing. Next, please welcome Ms. Lorena Anaalo from Pustaka Negeri Sarawak to present her paper on organizational capacity, our experience in Pustaka Negeri Sarawak during the pandemic crisis.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sarawak Annual Librarians Colloquium 2022. This morning I will be presenting a perspective paper. My paper is entitled Organizational Capacity, Our Experience in Pustaka Negeri Sarawak during the COVID-19 pandemic 2020 to 2021. Yeah, so we have a mandate to fulfill where organizational capacity is concerned. The Sarawak Library Ordinance 1999 Part 2 Section 5I says to make provision for the specialized training of officers and employees of the State Library, and in that connection may offer or procure scholarships, loans, study or research grants for intending trainees, or otherwise pay the cost of such training or expenses incidental thereto. At the same time, we are also fulfilling the requirements of the Sarawak State Library Standing Orders 2019, the Sarawak State Library Manual on Policy and Guidelines for Human Resource Management, Part 8, Employee Professional Development and Training, says that the officers and employees shall be provided with the necessary training that will help them to perform their job effectively and efficiently. At the discretion of the head of department, employees may also attend conferences, courses, seminars, and meetings identified through annual work plans and performance reviews, which may be beneficial to the employees' professional development. We have been in operation for more than 20 years, and we have grown. Now we have Miri and Cebu campuses, and our new archive building is still in construction. Yeah. So our current manpower at the moment, as you can see, that we have 19.6% of our manpower are librarians, and we have the non-professional group with the social and library scheme of service, which make up of 51.3%, and this made up of total of 70.9% of our manpower. Yeah, and we also have other professional groups, about 4.2%, and other support group at 24.9%. So this is the overall manpower strength that we have in Pustaka at the moment. And this is the training outlook for 2020 to 2021 when we were in the pandemic crisis. And ladies and gentlemen, our training budget, what was approved versus what was spent. Yeah, in 2020 we have 1.18% of our training budget was on the overall over the annual budget. We have about 450,000 to spend for training, but unfortunately due to the pandemic we could only spend 29% only, which is about almost 150,000. So in 2021, as you can see, we have actually shrunk our training budget over our overall annual budget from 1.18% in 2021. In 2021 we have only budgeted 0.53% out of the overall annual budget. And although we have greatly shrunk our training allocation, but we were able to spend almost 90%, 87%. It's about 180,000. So this is our training plan for 2020, which was approved by our board in 2019. So we have actually planned for this in 2019. As you can see, there are various training programs, from staff attachment to international conferences that we have actually planned to do in 2020, mostly on the staff attachment at archives institutions in as far as Australia, the Philippines, and as well as in Singapore. And at the same time, we also wanted to send our staff to attend library conferences in the For example, in for ICA Congress in Abu Dhabi, the American Library Association Conference in Chicago, and others like IFLA 2020 in Dublin. But these were all scrapped off due to the pandemic, where most conference organizers had to either postpone or cancel their conferences. Yeah. And at the same time, we also plan for generic courses from the HR courses, admin courses, customer service, down to the managing the health and wellness of our staff. At the same time, also on the team building and all these generic courses that we have. These are what I should say a permanent courses that we will have in a year. We have to scrap them off due to inability to conduct them, yeah, because of the pandemic. And this is our 2021 training plan. As you can see, we have actually shrunk many of our training plans, but we still put up specific trainings for the library staff. And of course, having them mostly, we try online, yeah, we try to do them virtually. And also capitalizing what is available already on the internet, for example, for HR courses and other admin courses, yeah. So the training process in Pustaka Negeri Sarawak is probably similar to what you have in your organization. They are not new, but these are what we have been practicing. Yeah. So of course, in a training process, how we come up with the training plan, we identify the training needs, and then we will draft a plan. After that, we will have them approved and endorsed at our board, and then the execution part of it. And of course, we do monitor, and after that, we evaluate. Yeah. So how do we identify training needs? So training needs for the organization are derived from recommendations from the head of sectors, division heads, unit heads, for their staff, what kind of training that they plan for their staff, what are the gaps that they address in their competency, in their skills. So these are the trainings that we harvest from the recommendations given by their respective supervisors. Yeah, identifying training needs through recommendations given by their superiors. Yeah? And then this is also another way that we identify a training is through harvesting what is listed individually by our staff through their annual performance review. Yeah? So these are the kinds of training needs that the individual staff would like to attend, yeah, in the coming years. Then our HR department will harvest this data to come up with a training plan. So this is how the training plan is drafted. As I have mentioned earlier, all these training requests are put up by the various supervisors and their staff. We have more or less plan them, tabulate them, and then to come up with the training plan for the year, plus also the training recommendations given by the management according to the organizational needs, yeah, for that year. And then in terms of performance, ladies and gentlemen, this is our scorecard for the year 2020 and 2021. We were measuring training hours completed and as well as budget fully spent. Yeah. For instance, we have 3 levels of staff: the management and professional group, the implementer group, as well as the support group. For the management and professional group, the target was 80% of the staff completed 42 hours training in a year. So in 2020, we have exceed the target at 97.78%, and in 2021 almost 100%. And for the implementer group, these are the assistant librarians, the accounts assistant, the accounts clerk, the admin assistants. So the target was 75%, and for the year 2020 we did not achieve this target. Only 60% of the staff completed the 36 hours. However, in 2021, 92.61% of our implementer group managed to complete their 36 hours of training. So in terms of support group, these are our guards and our drivers. The target was 70%. And in the year 2020, 88.1% of our staff from this group completed their 24 hours training, while in 2021, 81.13%. So in terms of our balance scorecard, from the four perspective, our performance in 2020, we managed to score 65.3% out of the four perspective, whereas in 2021 we scored 97.3% for organizational capacity perspective. So these are the trainings, the number of trainings that we had. In 2020 we had 264 training programs. And in 2021, we have 346 training programs, in which in 2020, 37.4% of the training program were generic courses, whereas only 5.9% were the specific training. Those library trainings, archive trainings, records training, and also not to mention our staff from the finance and HR departments. We gave them specific training. And in 2021, generic training was 49.5%. Exceed what was done in the year 2020, and in also 7.2% for the specific training for the year 2021, also exceed what was done in 2020. So what was planned and what was executed? This was in 2020, 45.45% of what was planned was carried out, and in 2021, 56% of what was planned was carried out. So this is the training evaluation by our staff. We have our training evaluation form or feedback. We are putting them up online so that it's easier for staff to give their assessment. So this is a sample of our online training feedback and evaluation form. As you can see, there are areas that are being assessed by the employees themselves after they attended this training. They will assess the course itself and the facilitator, as well as the environment where the training was held. And then after 6 months, the respective supervisor will evaluate the trainee. They will fill up section E and F. And then they will give a final assessment through their marks, to the marks given. And this later will translate into the overall competency rate. So this is actually evaluated by each supervisor 6 months after the trainee has attended a particular training. So in the year 2020, we were measuring, 2020 and 21 actually, we were still measuring the number of training hours completed, by each category of employees. But gradually in 2022, this year, we start to measure the employee competency rate. As you can see, for the second half of 2021, the competency rate for our employees has exceed the target of 80% at 82.65%. So this is actually measuring impact KPI. Yeah? So in terms of execution, ladies and gentlemen, what was planned and what was carried out, as I mentioned earlier, this was what we have actually carried out, out of the plan that we have tabulate, out of the plan that we have that serves as a guideline for us for the overall management of staff training or the organizational capacity for the year 2020. 45.45% what was planned was carried out, and in the year 2021 56%. And these are some images on virtual courses we did in the year 2020 to 2021. This is a stress management course where we do take care of our staff, especially when they work from home, and we help them to manage some level of stress by giving them this course. At least they have some awareness on how to manage their stress. Yeah. So at the same time, we also conducted an integrity talk, also when the staff was directed to work from home. Yeah. So in terms of achievement, ladies and gentlemen, though times were difficult, there were challenges during the pandemic, but still we were able to do at least two international conferences, international knowledge virtual conference in the month of August in 2021. At the same time, the International K at Borneo Virtual Conference 2021, which was held 1 month later, in September. And besides that, we were also were awarded, we received 2 awards at the state level as well as at the national level. The first award is on the Anugerah High Performance Team, where we were given 3rd place, and also Anugerah Perpustakaan Paling Aktif Semasa Pandemic 2020-2021. So challenges, everyone faces challenges one way or another, and then we cannot escape what we have gone through, through the pandemic. Of course, top on the list for us was the internet connectivity. Bearing in mind when we were asked to work from home, internet connectivity was a big issue, where some have a better connectivity, whereas the others had a challenge, had difficulty in staying connected, in the sense that because most of our backroom operations are already digital, we are very much digital in our systems, in our processes, in our backroom processes. So if you do not have good connectivity, this will greatly slow down your work. At the same time, the lack of office equipment, as you know, that most of our equipments were left in the office, when we were asked to work from home. So office equipment, some end up trying to do it on their iPad, trying to do it on their devices, so it was really a challenge, but we managed, and then at the same time, of course, everybody have this shortcomings, how to engage and how to maintain your attention while attending online sessions, while attending courses virtually, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours is very taxing. So at the same time, we had to learn things fast. We were inexperienced in using all the technologies available. We had to learn fast how to use Zoom, how to use Google Meet, how to use Teams. This is really a learning experience at the same time. So and also KPIs, as you can see just now, one of the KPIs remains unchanged. So you can imagine the pressure of trying to keep up with the demands of work, the demands of our target, when we were asked to work from home. at the same time. Yeah, so of course there will people will face fatigues, some level of stress when working in isolation, you know. So these are some of the challenges that were top on our list, and I'm sure that some of you can identify with this. So what's next? So way forward, already here in 2022 and beyond, we are capitalizing on a hybrid format where we will have the physical and virtual training at the same time because of the abundance of professional tools and online courses and materials that is available already on the internet. And this we see as an advantage because of it's cost efficient, and also it stretches out our budget, and also it provides a flexible learning platform, yeah, learning space, so you can do it at your own time and space. And also, of course, we have more opportunities where we can enjoy speakers from all over the world. Yeah, we can the training providers can bring speakers all the way from the US, from London, or any other parts of the world, and so we can actually benefit from this. Yeah. And of course, we are in support of the Sarawak's post-COVID development strategy, PCDS 2030. And this is a quote from our premier. Quote, our aspiration is by 2030, Sarawak will be a thriving society driven by data and innovation, where everyone enjoys economic prosperity, social inclusivity, and sustainable environment. And Sarawak aspires to be a developed state by 2030, unquote. And these are the 7 strategic thrusts to accelerate economic growth, where you can see thrust 5 and 6, Pustaka is already supporting this thrust by accelerating digital adoption and data utilization to generate income. And also in support of this, we have actually created online training platform where we train others to use the social media, for instance, to use what is available already on the internet to help those who are illiterate, yeah, especially the older folks. Yeah, also in Trust 6, in the social inclusivity, we are driving economic and social benefits for all Sarawakians, focusing on impoverished segment of the population. Like I said just now, not only once upon a time we train ourselves to be better, to be good at what we are doing, but now we are training others, yeah, our community, those who are less fortunate, those who are bound by technology. There we are teaching them how to use technology is one of it. And of course, in the economic sector, we have the 7 enablers to support the PCDS 2030, where Pustaka is also already helping and supporting the digital transformation, as well as innovating our services, and also education and the human capital. Last but not least, this is the research and the survey results from all over 400 library leaders, which is written by Tina Stepi. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. And this is pertaining to upskilling workforce. This article is adapted from what industry leaders predict about the future of libraries. So firstly, we want to train our employees. We want to upskill them to be first responders and frontliners, as you can well identify with me, as you remembered that we during the pandemic, when the first year when we responded, to our viewers, to our users, through the social media, we help to we support the government even to communicate the results, or the daily results, if you can remember, the daily updates on COVID cases. So we help to reach out to the people out there by becoming first responder. And secondly, technology specialists, are we ready on the use of drone, chatbots, or ARs and AIs? And some of us are already there, I believe, even in the use of ARs and AIs. So also training, how do we upskill our workforce also to become social media managers? As you can remember, everyone was into the social media during the pandemic, when we were all were given the movement control order. So what was famous, of course, was the social media. They want to know what is the latest news, what is the latest SOP. So everyone flocked to the social media, mostly. So fourthly, the health and wellness. This is the area that we often put aside, but definitely we'll have to pay attention to the health and wellness of our employees. Not to forget their mental health state. So there are many of us who face different level of stress during the pandemic. So we also want to train people to increase their how to increase their immunity, how to increase their knowledge in terms of keeping themselves healthy, eating right, and how to increase their immunity during this pandemic, during the situation that we were in. So fifthly, managing risk. During those days we were asked to come up with SOPs. So SOPs for the library, for instance. We had to benchmark other agencies, other organizations on how to come up with the specific even SOPs that complements our industry, in order to ensure business continuity. So this is 5 out of 7 areas that the survey results focus on. So we hope that we can emulate and adopt some of these ideas, some of these suggestions from the survey. So we thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us this morning, and we hope to see you again. I yield back to the next presenter. Thank you.
Such an outstanding sharing by Miss Lorena. Thank you. Now shall we move to the third paper? Please give a warm welcome to Miss Saadiah binti Maliki from Perpustakaan Desa Kampung Hulu Meludam to present on perkhidmatan perpustakaan desa dalam norma baharu, Rural Library Services in the New Norm.
Terima kasih kepada pengacara majlis Encik Nur Faizan. Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Selamat pagi kepada semua yang berada di alam maya bersama Seko dan saya Sadiah binti Maliki. Terima kasih kepada Pustaka Negeri Sarawak kerana telah mengangkat PD dalam Seko ini bagi membentangkan tajuk perkhidmatan PD dalam norma baru. Terima kasih juga kepada Pustakaan Negara Malaysia kerana telah mengizinkan saya untuk berada di Selco mewakili PD khasnya di Sarawak bagi mengupas tajuk tersebut. Tanpa melengahkan masa, saya akan menyentuh tentang abstrak yang bertajuk perkhidmatan PD dalam norma baru. PD adalah aset kepada komuniti. Pandemik COVID yang melanda seluruh dunia telah memberi kesan juga kepada perkhidmatan pustakaan desa. Perpustakaan yang merupakan aset kepada komuniti turut menerima tempias pandemik COVID-19. Perkhidmatan perpustakaan yang dilaksanakan secara fizikal beralih kepada perkhidmatan digital dalam norma baru. Perkara ini telah memberi cabaran tugas padu kepada kaki tangan pustakaan kerana berlaku perubahan corak gerak kerja dari manual kepada digital. Perancangan program yang dijadualkan secara dirombak strategi pelaksanaannya. Sebagai usaha untuk memperkasakan kaki tangan pustakaan dan memberi perkhidmatan kepada komuniti, pelbagai bengkel dan program latihan telah diadakan secara dalam talian dan hasilnya telah diterjemahkan oleh kaki tangan pustakaan ke dalam perkhidmatan. Ini telah memberi ruang dan nafas baru kepada perkhidmatan pustakaan kekal relevan dalam komuniti. Perkhidmatan pustakaan dalam talian bersiarkan setiap masa menjadi media tontonan umum untuk mendapatkan maklumat. Statistik maya telah meningkat secara mendadak dengan peningkatan pengguna laman Facebook dan Instagram sebagai platform medium penyampaian maklumat kepada komuniti. Setelah beralih ke fasa endemik, perkhidmatan pustakaan telah menjadi tunjang pembangunan modal insan terutamanya dengan kesinambungan agenda ketika pandemik COVID-19 berterusan sehingga ke fasa endemik. Sebagai inisiatif perkhidmatan pustakaan perlu meningkatkan mutu kecemerlangan. Perkhidmatan pustakaan dengan pengetahuan yang lebih meluas mendepani masa depan. Sebelum melangkah lebih jauh lagi, saya kongsikan objektif PD, visi PD dan misi PD. Objektif PD desa, pustakaan desa seperti menyediakan sumber maklumat dalam pelbagai bentuk media dan perkhidmatan perpustakaan bagi memenuhi keperluan masyarakat. Memberi akses kepada pelbagai bentuk ilmu dan maklumat kepada semua lapisan masyarakat dalam aspek pembelajaran, pembangunan diri, kemajuan sosial dan ekonomi masyarakat. Memanfaatkan masyarakat setempat dan dapat menggalakkan budaya membaca serta menangani jurang digital dan jurang ilmu dan digital di kalangan masyarakat. Menggalakkan penyebaran maklumat kepada masyarakat, berperanan sebagai satu tempat perjumpaan orang ramai untuk aktiviti sosial ke arah mengukuhkan perpaduan di kalangan masyarakat. Menyokong pembangunan kebudayaan dan kesenian tempatan ke arah mengukuhkan perpaduan di kalangan masyarakat. Visi Perpustakaan Desa pula berperanan sebagai ejen perubahan bagi pembangunan sosial. Pemangkin kepada pemantapan budaya membaca. Misi Perpustakaan Desa pula menyediakan kemudahan akses maklumat kepada pengguna, memastikan kesamarataan akses bahan dan perkhidmatan yang disediakan untuk masyarakat. Menggalakkan penyertaan masyarakat setempat dalam aktiviti galakan yang dianjurkan. Di sini saya paparkan perkhidmatan perpustakaan desa sebelum pandemik COVID-19. Pendaftaran keahlian, pinjaman dan pemulangan, penggunaan ICT, aktiviti ilmiah bengkel latihan dan kursus, konseling dan bimbingan, local content, khidmat masyarakat. Kami pihak PD menyediakan dokumen seperti surat dan lain-lain secara hard copy. Door to door, kolaborasi, perkemahan ilmu, aktiviti sosial, rujukan koleksi. Saya kongsikan beberapa gambaran untuk santapan mata pagi ini bagi aktiviti ICT pandai yang melibatkan internet. Di sini kami menyediakan CJ penyertaan untuk para peserta. Okay, ini gambar. Gambar yang saya tunjukkan ini bersama pemimpin P201 Batang Lupa, iaitu Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Hajah Rohani bin Haji Abdul Karim. Okay. Selain itu juga kolaborasi dengan pihak luar iaitu pihak Universiti Unimas dan Swinburne dengan program Plastik dan Society Project. Kami sebagai petugas PD, selain itu juga membantu dan membimbing pelajar peperiksaan dalam mencari tahu tentang profil komuniti setempat. Program door to door dijalankan dalam komuniti setempat untuk mewujudkan budaya membaca dalam keluarga secara berskala kecil. Tidak ketinggalan juga turut dipinjamkan ke surau, masjid dan sekolah. Aktiviti sosial adalah aktiviti berserampang tiga iaitu melibatkan PD, badan NGO setempat dan persatuan luar berkumpul dan berpusat di perkarangan perpustakaan desa. Ini adalah perkarangan perpustakaan desa. Aktiviti sosial ini bukan sahaja aktiviti sukan, bahkan aktiviti yang menjurus kepada membantu pihak berkuasa seperti polis, rela, KRT, hati dan sebagainya dalam usaha membantras gejala yang tidak sihat. Local content dicari gali dalam masyarakat setempat yang masih lagi menyimpan khazanah ilmu zaman silam seperti pembuatan sarap, ini sarap, tampung seribu, udang kering, produk tempatan dan sebagainya perlu diketengahkan semula dalam generasi hari ini dan tidak lain tidak bukan PD sebagai penggerak komuniti memainkan peranan ini. Perkhidmatan perpustakaan desa semasa pandemik COVID-19, pendaftaran keahlian, pinjaman dan pemulangan, pustaka untuk mendapatkan bahan bacaan dan rujukan. Aktiviti ilmiah online, Facebook, sumber maklumat digital, proses reader, bengkel latihan dan khusus secara atas talian, local content, produk tempatan yang dihasilkan, khidmat masyarakat, konseling dan bimbingan dalam talian. Pelbagai aktiviti yang dijalankan semasa COVID, bengkel secara Zoom meeting, okay. Ejen latihan industri pelajar UPSI, bengkel Google Meet. Jom baca bersama. Bacaan kegemaran saya. Jom ngaji. Pustaka. Facebook untuk sumber maklumat. Seminar. Info COVID-19. Bimbingan dalam talian melalui WhatsApp. Panel perkongsian ilmu yang dianjurkan oleh Perpustakaan Negara Malaysia. Okay. Perkhidmatan Perpustakaan Desa Fasa Endemik. Pendaftaran keahlian, pinjaman dan pemulangan, penggunaan ICT, aktiviti ilmiah, latihan dan khusus, rujukan koleksi, one stop center, tumpuan untuk komuniti, khidmat masyarakat secara fizikal, community leader, sumber inspirasi dan pencetus idea, kolaborasi, sambutan perayaan, sambutan awal Muharram, aktiviti sosial, sumber maklumat melalui Facebook dan PD. Selepas negara menerima kelonggaran SOP dan menuju ke fasa endemik, komuniti setempat wajaran bagi mereka menguasai ilmu secara lebih meluas. Ketika pandemik COVID-19, ramai yang terkial-kial dengan pelbagai aplikasi baharu dengan cara penggunaan media digital, bahkan atas urusan kerja, pada yang terpinga-pinga mencari, membuat dokumen dan lain-lain secara digital. PD yang menyediakan tempat dan pembimbing menjadi sasaran untuk menuntut ilmu, terutama ilmu digital, maka wujudlah program ini di dalam fasa endemik. Ini adalah program Oh My English. Dan yang ini program digital bersama remaja 13 tahun ke atas. Program semasa cuti sekolah, kami menganjurkan kategori khusus digital, kategori kanak-kanak 12 tahun. Mereka didedahkan untuk membuat perbentangan seorang perseorangan. Ini kolaborasi AADK, klinik kesihatan dan pustakaan desa. Pengalaman berkhidmat ketika pandemik COVID-19. Satu pengalaman yang luar biasa berlaku dalam sejarah perkhidmatan sebagai petugas perpustakaan desa. Petugas harus bijak mengurus masa, berfikir di luar kotak kaedah yang boleh membantu komuniti untuk kelangsungan perkhidmatan perpustakaan sentiasa relevan dalam apa jua keadaan. Perpustakaan desa bukan sahaja sebagai penggerak, tetapi harus bergerak untuk berkhidmat dalam komuniti. Harapan dan cadangan kami untuk semualah, untuk komuniti. Semoga jentera perkhidmatan perpustakaan akan terus teguh berdiri dalam apa jua keadaan. Dicadangkan perkhidmatan perpustakaan perlu ditingkatkan mutu dan kualiti kecemerlangannya dengan mengadakan program latihan pemantapan, pembangunan modal insan dan sebagainya. Sekian, terima kasih dari saya.
That was really an eye-opener. Thank you so much, Miss Sadia. For the final paper of this session, please welcome Miss Salida binti Zalwawi from Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, who will be talking on sustainable thinking for sustainable libraries.
Very much to Ms. Faizan for allowing me to give my presentations today. Before I proceed, it would be better if I recite Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and salam sejahtera to all of you. First of all, I have to thank you, the organizer, for choosing the theme post-COVID Sarawak Libraries Way Forward. So the title of my presentations today is Sustainable Thinking for Sustainable Libraries. And of course, this my presentation today is all about sustainable thinking and how it is very significant to keep our libraries sustainable, regardless of what the challenges we faced, the pandemic, the post-COVID era, so on and so forth. Here we see the picture of Albert Einstein. Einstein, as we know, he is the great philosopher, scientist, and of course the great thinker himself. He had stated that it all begins with our thinking. The world that we created, the world that we created, the world that we live in, that we engage in, is the product of our thinking. Thus, he said that if we want to change the world, we have to change our thinking. And here, what is sustainable thinking? To make it simple, sustainable thinking is to think sustainably, meaning here the ability to meet today's needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet theirs. So how sustainable long-term social, cultural, and economic goals are? This is pertaining to the everyday aspects of life. The way we involve ourselves with the environment, the surrounding that we deal with. Are we doing the right thing that can last long term for future generations? For instance, are we using the non-biodegradable plastic, for instance? Do we practice 3R, reduce, reuse, recycle, to effectively use the resources and materials for our society? And whether we are talking about less carbon emissions or more clean energy, environmental justice, or customer preference, the mindset have to be changed. So here we are talking about are we economically sustainable of using the limited resources that that we have, as well as what are the approaches that we should take, okay, to achieve greatest possible sustainability in terms of are there any policy in place for us to sustainably for us to have the sustainable thinking and for the sustainably productions of our thing. Okay, the critical issue here, okay, on the what information professional do to stay relevant. This is a very critical issue because each and every one of us has to practice sustainable thinking to keep ourselves relevant to our sacred positions as information and knowledge workers. So here, sustainable thinking, it encourages long-term thinking, and smart decisions and actions. So we see that here, the era, the pre-COVID, during the COVID and post-COVID, regardless of what the world facing now, whether we are in this era, what is importantly is sustainable thinking has an impact to us because it improves the quality of human life. It is basically based on the efficient and responsible use of all of society's scarce resources, the natural, human, and economic. And if you see from the screen here, there is one prominent sustainable thinking scholars by the name of Rebecca. She mentioned that sustainable thinking is universal. So in the context of library and archive, it refers to the alignment of libraries and archives' core values and resources, including staff time and energy, facilities, collections, and technology, with the local and global communities' right to endure, bounce back from disruptions, and thrive by bringing new and energetic life to fruition through choices made in all areas of library operations and outreach. So here, if we see that sustainable thinking has no doubt corresponds very well with the SDG of the United Nations, and sustainable thinking is always be good for a good opportunity for SDG. Okay, here I try to relate sustainable thinking and SDG to the roles and functions, the significant roles of information professionals, because what librarians do, in fact, based on his or her roles, based on his or her significant roles, the 7 roles, and how this is very much related to sustainable thinking and SDG itself. Okay, we can see here there are 7 significant roles of information professionals as outlined by the IFLA 2018. You can find this in the Libraries and Sustainable Development Goals Storytelling Manual. It says that the first role is teaching and guiding users on literacy skills. Second, providing free access to information. Okay. Third, establishing safe and comfortable space for community. I will explain it later, each and every single thing of this. Fourth, understanding information needs of users. Fifth, engaging and guiding useful digital inclusion. Six, engaging users with innovative and creative ideas and services. And 7, sustaining local content. And if you see here, all those 7 significant roles of librarians have the great impact on achieving United Nations 2030 agenda. We see that all these 17 SDGs, from the goals number 1 to the goals number 17, we have our role here. It is a very much in relations to our significant roles that I've mentioned earlier. Here we see that how library, Pustaka, for instance, my organizations, we work hand in hand, we work together to carry out our significant roles in the context of sustainable thinking. Okay, first we can see that the first role, okay, educating patrons with literacy skills and digital inclusion. Okay, we know that educating skills and equip them with the right skills is very significant to all users in this context, for them to understand sustainability and to take actions wisely. For instance, for Pustaka, we have what we call is open learning platform, that we have the Pandey the Pandey platform, People Accessible Network for Digital Empowerment and Inclusivity. In this OLP, Pandey, we have a few courses. One of them is the course on digital literacy for community, which we talk about government digital initiative. For instance, we talk about cyber security, and of course, we talk on the sustainable Sarawak or Sarawak Lestari. Here we can see how our role is very much related to sustainable thinking, to empower users to have the sustainable life. Of course, in Sarawak Lestari ataupun Sustainable Sarawak here, we have a few modules, like the modules on the we're focusing on two SDG aspect, SDG number 11 and 12 in the Pembangunan Mampan, for instance, on the sustainable community, on the development sustainability, so on and so forth. I have no patience here because I have to congratulate Pustaka and Pandey team for recently won the Confucius Literacy Award for Pandey and the UNESCO Literacy Award. This is basically the recognitions to us, is the recognition from UNESCO on how the role of librarians is very important in allowing people to have the sustainable thinking, and also in allowing people to practice the sustainability in the whole sense of the word. Again, congratulations to Pustaka team, and Pustaka team, specifically the Pandey team, for this. Okay, the second one, talking about the roles just now, we see that innovation and creativity. Here we talk about engaging users with innovative, creative ideas and services. Of course, at Pustaka, we have plenty of activities for driving people in innovative and creative ideas, like we have the 3D coding for kids, for users, for adults as well. And then when we talk about the Innovative and Creative Circle, ICC, the Protege 6, for instance, in Smiri, they are very well known for their ARIC innovations. And of course, we also engage ourselves in the Cabaran Inovasi Inclusive, where we are trying people to be innovate. We are trying to push the innovation and creativity forward. Okay, this is the significant roles that I believe that the librarians, not only in Pustaka but in other places, they are doing the same thing too. And then we see here that in terms of the local content creation and enrichment, this is the other significant roles of librarians. For instance, we at Pustaka, we are really pushing ourselves into creating the local content and enrich them by having like the Sarawakiana festivals, and then we engage ourselves in the oral history as well as in producing Sarawakiana books. This is with the one purpose is to enrich, to create and enrich the local content, especially when we say the local content, especially on the cultural part of it, the social, cultural and heritage part of it. And this is the significant roles of, again, the librarians, how we relate it with sustainable thinking, and then our roles, and this is for the sustainable libraries, of course. And talking about this, when we relate the sustainable thinking, the sustainable libraries, as well as on this sustainable development goals as a whole in the context of library and archive, for instance, Pustaka Negeri Sarawak have been entrusted by the state and the Right Honourable Premier of Sarawak for Pustaka to lead the awareness and advocacy initiative of SDG for the state. So here, Sustainable Sarawak, we see that Sustainable Sarawak practices holistic and integrated approaches to our ecological, social, and economic dimensions towards lasting prosperity based on the SDG of the United Nations. So here it calls for concerted efforts because we cannot work alone. We have to work together with all segments of society to enhance prosperity while at the same time we are protecting the planet. So if we see that here, we have put some outcome and learning stages of this SDG. We see that the awareness and advocacy initiatives of Sarawak, we are targeting for the achievement of 80% of Sarawak population to be aware of government initiatives towards SDG by the year of 2025. So the learning stages that we put here, we have 4 learning stages in terms of the awareness with all the programs that we have outlined, like the exhibitions, the campaign, resource sharing, Bicara Sarawak Lestari, the open learning platform for people to get aware of what a sustainable thinking and sustainable development goals is, and then the survey of perceptions, as well as the promotion posters, so on and so forth. And then we see that the second stage on the knowledge part of it, and then the understanding part of it, and then the immersion part of the sustainable development goals. Okay, from here we can say that it all begins with our thinking, as what Einstein said, that if we want to change the world, we have to change the thinking. And sustainable libraries could not be evolved or created without the sustainable thinking first. So sustainable thinking will lead to sustainable libraries, which, of course, with the great hope that it will create the sustainable communities. And these sustainable communities is very much important for our nation state. Okay, in the nutshell, again, I believe that all of us, whether we are librarians, whether we are teachers, and all of us have our own roles to create, to have the sustainable thinking. As sustainable thinking is something that is universal, and for us to have a sustainable life for the sustainable communities. Yeah, thank you very much. And I open this for discussions later on. Thank you very much.
Without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator, librarian and Head of Information Service Division of Pustaka Negeri Sarawak. Please welcome Mr. Edison Rickard.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Edison Rickard. Thank you for our presenter today. What an insightful presentation. And without further ado, I would like to call upon Haja Selina Sawawi, Encik Kiprawi Sani, Puan Lorena, and Cik Sadiah Maliki. Before we proceed with our Q&A session today, I would like to take this opportunity to organizing a committee of the Sarawak Persatuan Pustakawan Malaysia, Kumpulan Sarawak, and also Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, and our sponsor, not forgetting our sponsor, Emerald Publishing, for sponsoring our colloquium this year. Yeah. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you Haja Selina Haja Zawawi, one of our presenter for this session. Let me introduce you a brief on Haja Selina. Is currently the head of library services sector at Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, and she is the current chairman of Persatuan Pustakawan Malaysia Kumpulan Sarawak 2022 to 2034. And she has more than 15 years experience as librarian. She holds a bachelor degree in political science and master in library information science from University Islamic University Malaysia. And she has written several articles and presented a paper in local and international conference. Her area of interest are sustainable development, planning management of information services, information literacy provisions, and library service research, as well as extensive experience in information brokerage reference consultation. And she's currently the coordinator for awareness and advocacy initiative for sustainable development SDG of Sustainable Sarawak, so in Bahasa Melayu, Sarawak Lestari. Also, she's the one of the pioneer in setting up American Corner at the library and other reading engagement initiatives such as Reading Seat and Pandey. And our second presenter will be Encik Kiprawi Sani from Polytechnic Kuching. She has been more than 15 years in Polytechnic Kuching. And our third presenter will be Puan Lorena Alo. She's currently the head of corporate management sector in Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, and she has more than 20 years experience in Pustaka Negeri Sarawak. Yeah. And fourthly, we have Cik Sadiah Maliki. She currently the supervisor of the Perpustakaan Desa Kampung Hulu Maludam. Also very vast experience in the Perpustakaan Desa, and has been serving Perpustakaan Desa in Kampung Hulu Malam for the past 20 years. Yeah. So welcome, presenter. Such an insightful presentation this morning. Thank you for your presentation, and we like to start the roll bowling with Haja Selina. Yeah, I'm wondering, Haja Selina, is the sustainable thinking a new thing for library nowadays?
Okay, thank you very much, Eddie, for that. Supposedly, it shouldn't be a new thing for us librarians and for all professions, because particularly in the context of what I presented just now, we see that there is a significant relationship, the 7 significant roles of our roles as information professionals, and to the core values of sustainability. But if we are talking about in terms of strengthening libraries into structured actions of sustainability or sustainable thinking in that perspective, we consider this as new thing, because the American Library Associations, okay, in their 2015 annual conference in San Francisco, the LA had passed the resolutions, not also new, 2015, now it's 2022. It's not so they passed the resolutions that emphasize on the importance of sustainable libraries, because in this resolution, it says that they encourage the American Library Associations, as well as all the librarians in the world, basically, to have, in terms of their membership, library schools, in anything, they have to be proactive in the applications of sustainability itself, in the application of sustainable thinking, be it in the areas of our facilities, our operations, in terms of our policy, technology, programming, so on and so forth. Yeah, it is basically not a new thing, but in terms of the document, in terms of the thing, in structured thing, yeah, the resolution had been passed there. Yeah, yeah.
That's why in our whatever we do in the library world, sustainability is the way forward towards supporting the SDG goal by United Nations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we move on to Puan Lorena. Yeah. Puan Lorena, I noticed that the training hour for certain category of staff was achieved into 2020. Yeah. Why, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, even though only from your presentation, 29% at the budget of the budget was utilized. How did Pustaka do that, Puan Lorena?
Thank you, Edison. So for Pustaka, we capitalize more on the free training programs that are already available on the internet. And there is also one online learning platform provided by the Sarawak state government. We call it the Sarawak Leadership Institute. I'm sure those who are from the SES, yeah, they are familiar with Sarawak Leadership Institute, and they have online learning platform in which during those days, during when we were asked to work from home, we were asking staff to capitalize on the available online training program provided by the Sarawak Leadership Institute. So the staff were asked to pick and choose, the generic training that they like, and in order to increase their knowledge and, of course, their understanding. So the Sarawak Leadership Institute offered many virtual programs, actually, which include recorded webinar sessions, such as like executive talks and courses such as public sector financial management, or how to increase your public speaking skill, and until even how to manage effective time management, this kind of generic courses, yeah, they were very popular among our staff. Many of us attended these so-called generic courses. So apart from that, we for Sarawak Leadership Institute, in order to engage in their courses, yeah, we have to at least join one virtual training program. And in this training program, Institute impose a certain number of hours to complete, yeah, in order to cover the entire module. So this was done at our own pace. Remember, we were all working from home. At the same time, even on Saturdays and Sundays, we tried to finish the module. And then, so once any one of us complete the training module, a digital certificate will be issued. So on our side, our HR will record the training hours completed. So these are one of the ways that we use in order to keep up with the training KPI in 2020 and 2021. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, indeed, the pandemic really pushed, even leapfrog from we used to do physical training, physical meeting, but due to this pandemic, really push us and really sort of forcing us to use the e-learning platform, the Zoom Meet, the Google Meet, in order to achieve, in order to attend training courses, regardless whether it's in Malaysia, around the world. Yeah, it really helps, and also in terms of cost saving, it also a really cost saving approach of attending training. Yeah. Yeah. All right, now we move on to Encik Kiprawi Sani of Polytechnic Kuching. And I want to ask you, Encik Sani, what are the future planning for IQ?
Thank you, Mr. Eddie.
Yeah.
Now we already in the new version of the IKIP. We already registered it with my APO last April. So now we have to think about the new version because we want to sustain the system in future, and then of course we want to have other library with the process of stock checking system, especially we know that small library like Pustakaan Desa or school library, they doesn't do the process frequently because a lot of obstacle, just like time consuming, budgeting, or how call it their own personal. So in future we have to think about the new version. So hopefully the new version will more effective and more useful to use to improve the stock checking process. That's all.
Yeah, interesting and very useful initiative. If other library interested to use this IQ, what are the procedure? Is it available for subscription or how?
Okay, if other library interest want to use IKIP, so they can write to us or email to us. Just contact us. So we will and then we will brief them how to use, and then the process of the IKIP system, and then we will give them for free.
Right.
Just write and request to us.
All right. Thank you. It's indeed really useful, especially in a library for the stock taking exercise. And now we move on to our fourth speaker. Is Sadia Maliki around?
Yes, Edison.
Okay. Cik Sadia,
maaf.
saya ada satu soalan yang saya ingin tanya ni, apakah cabaran yang dihadapi oleh sebagai kaki tangan perpustakaan desa dalam melaksanakan perkhidmatan perpustakaan dalam norma baru sekarang?
Okey, terima kasih, Edison. Mohon maaf. Suara keras. Ya sebagai seorang petugas perpustakaan desa yang telah lama berkhidmat di perpustakaan desa, memang kami menghadapi banyak cabaran ketika menemui fasa norma baru. Salah satu cabaran yang kami hadapi ketika ini iaitu cabaran kemudahan internet ataupun peralatan ICT. Tidak semua perpustakaan desa memiliki liputan internet yang lebih meluas dan lebih-lebih lagi untuk kawasan luar bandar. Internet yang merupakan salah satu daripada kemudahan yang penting menjadi perkara yang asas untuk semua pengguna kerana rata-rata maklumat diperolehi di hujung jari. Peralatan ICT juga menjadi masalah untuk perkhidmatan perpustakaan dalam norma baru kerana peralatan ICT di perpustakaan desa masih lagi pakai peralatan yang ketinggalan zaman dan juga proses untuk mencari maklumat agak sukar. Walau bagaimanapun, petugas harus menggunakan inisiatif tertentu untuk mencari jalan penyelesaian. Itu adalah cabaran yang pertama. Cabaran yang kedua dihadapi oleh sebagai petugas kaki tangan perpustakaan desa dalam norma baru ialah kurangnya penguasaan ilmu pengetahuan berkenaan dengan aplikasi terkini di dunia digital. Untuk mengatasi masalah ini, petugas haruslah belajar, bersiap sedia menimba pengalaman, mencari pengetahuan, belajar menguasai sesuatu demi untuk membantu meningkatkan literasi komuniti. Itu adalah cabaran yang cukup ketara lah dalam norma baru iaitu internet dan peralatan ICT serta ilmu yang cukup mantap. Okay, Cik Edison. Cik Edison, selain daripada cabaran tersebut, terdapat juga cabaran-cabaran lain yang dihadapi oleh petugas perpustakaan desa, iaitu beban tugas yang semakin bertambah. Kerana pihak perpustakaan desa juga terpaksa untuk bergerak dalam dua hala, iaitu satu menggunakan khidmat digital, iaitu menggunakan laman Facebook ataupun Instagram untuk mempromosi ataupun menyampaikan maklumat dalam perkhidmatan, dan di samping itu juga pihak kami berserampang dua dengan perkhidmatan secara fizikal di dalam bangunan perpustakaan desa sendiri. Dalam masa yang sama, kami terbeban dengan cabaran yang cukup hebat ini kerana dunia kini berhadapan dengan dunia yang serba moden dan seharusnya kami sebagai petugas perpustakaan desa haruslah mendepani masalah ini untuk terus berkhidmat dan kekal relevan dalam komuniti. Okay, Encik Edison.
Terima kasih Cik Sadia for dengan jawapan tersebut. Now we move on back to Haja Selina Zawawi. Haja Selina, there's another question for you. How do you see the role of librarian in practicing sustainability?
Okay, how do I see the roles of librarians in practicing sustainability? I believe that all of us, the librarians, first and foremost, we have to be the exemplar, okay? We have to be the catalyst for change, because when we do give the good example to people, people can emulate it and they can follow what we do. Because as a librarian, we see that we have to think sustainably, okay, through our sustainable thinking. and practicing sustainable thinking, as I mentioned earlier, that regardless in our work preparation, for instance, in our programs, in our service design, outreach, so on and so forth. So from there, people emulate us, and at the same time, the roles of librarians is we are the knowledge provider to the people. We give them the awareness, okay, the information on the awareness, the information on the awareness, and then we advocate for the sustainability lah, the practicing to practice the sustainability. For instance, maybe as an organizations, we can enforce the policy of no single-use plastic policy, for instance, yeah. Or we can do the 3R campaign at the library. This is the first and foremost. I see the role of librarian. The most important thing is we have to be the exemplar. We have to be the catalyst for change for the community. Yeah, because we are the knowledge provider. We are the custodian of knowledge. At the same time, we give people all this, the knowledge, the knowledge, the information sources on how best for them to practice sustainability as a whole.
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah. I concur your opinion, Haja Selina, because in this new way forward, the library new way forward, sustainability is one of the key initiative and also key aspect that we need to consider in every aspect of our working life as a librarian, and also the library approach in doing activity, programs, projects, and also I think the academia, I mean the university also have to include sustainability in the academic I mean courses that offered in university. Yeah,
correct. Because of that, I think, you see, for instance, in Sarawak, why the Amat Berhormat Premier chose Pustaka Negeri Sarawak as the organizations to lead the awareness and advocacy for SDG. You see, because the state, the Premier see the importance, the crucial role of librarian as a catalyst for change, as the exemplar to practice sustainability for the state. Yeah.
Thank you for your great effort, and really look forward for other library to follow the example initiative by Pustaka Negeri Sarawak.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Haja Selina.
Thank you.
Now we move on back to Puan Lorena Aloh. Puan Lorena, again, I noticed that a total of 56% of the training plan was carried out in 2021. What did Pustaka do to cover the difference of different and yet achieving the target training hours for each category of staff in Pustaka? Over to you, Puan Lorena.
Okay. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So as in other organizations, as in practice by other organizations as well, I believe that training plan serves as a guide, for the organization. So where staff development program is concerned. So as far as possible in Pustaka, we are very much guided to fulfill the training programs requested by the supervisors and their staff. But however, it is also the management's prerogative to determine other sources of training which meets the needs of the organization at that time. So we may receive invitations to attend webinar or even online conferences which are related to our core business. But however, these were considered as ad hoc. They were not planned for the year. So when we receive this kind of invitation, especially from the state government, so we this is actually pertaining to you know, pertaining to current events. For example, we have executive talks or webinars on post-COVID-19, for example, this Sarawak, the new normal, they call it, and how to break the chain COVID-19. So these are the kind of virtual talks or webinar sessions that are current to our and pertinent to our our condition at that time, yeah, the pandemic crisis that we were in. So we also account attending this kind of talks as part of staff training. So for therefore these are relevant, to the current topics, and among others also, although they were not planned, but they are relevant to where we were during the pandemic. Yeah. Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Puan Lorena. Yeah, and now we move on again to back to Encik Kiprawi. What your expectation, Encik Kiprawi, for IQ? I think you're mute, Encik Kiprawi. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. I hope that one day IKIP will serve with the small library everywhere. And now we need to do some promotion to create awareness about our innovation product. And hopefully, in the future, we will get IKIP maybe all over the Sarawak lah. And hopefully our ambition will be success. That's all.
Thank you. Yeah. And last but not least, Cik Sadia Maliki. Satu lagi soalan untuk Cik Sadia, apakah penerimaan masyarakat ya terhadap perubahan perkhidmatan perpustakaan desa dalam era norma baru, Cik Sadia?
Okay, terima kasih, Cik. Tidak dinafikan, dunia memang dikejutkan dengan budaya norma baru dengan adanya pemeriksaan suhu badan, pengambilan butiran diri, penggunaan MySejahtera dan sebagainya kepada pengunjung yang berkunjung di perpustakaan maupun di permis-permis awam. Sesetengah pengunjung akan mematuhi norma ini atas dasar kita jaga kita. Tetapi sesetengahnya merasa rimas dengan peraturan ini, lebih-lebih lagi kepada golongan dewasa. Namun sebagai kaki tangan perpustakaan desa, kita tetap beramah mesra pelanggan dengan berbudi bahasa baik, menyatakan inilah norma baru dan inilah budaya kerja baru dan inilah permulaan yang baru. Alhamdulillah, akhirnya komuniti memahami budaya norma ini dan pelbagai usaha penyebaran maklumat secara fizikal dan peranan media Facebook perpustakaan desa sendiri memberi kesedaran kepada komuniti dan perubahan ini diterima pakai oleh masyarakat hari ini. Alhamdulillah. Terima kasih, Cik Di.
Terima kasih, Cik Sadia. Okay, thank you for our distinguished speaker today. They are the mover and shaker in the library world. So hopefully with this, with day one of this colloquium, will inspired, yeah, will inspire our fellow librarian in Sarawak, not only in Sarawak but also in the whole Malaysia, that that can be followed, can be practiced together to the new normal. Yeah, and that will be the conclusion and also the conclude of our day one of Sarawak Annual Library Colloquium. And before that, again, I would like to thank this opportunity to Persatuan Pustakawan Pustakawan Malaysia, Kumpulan Sarawak, Pustakaan Negeri Sarawak, and and our sponsor for this year colloquium, Emerald Publishing, for sponsoring our event today, this year. And we will look forward to see you again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the day 2 of the SALCO 2022 program. And thank you again, Puan Lorena, Encik Kiprawi, Haja Selina, and Cik Sadia Maliki for your presence today. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Such a great start for SALCO 2022. Thank you once again to the moderator, Mr. Edison Rickett, and all of our panelists for the successful sharing. To the viewers and participants, we hope that this has been a fruitful conference for you. Please help us improve by completing the feedback form via the link provided at the chat section. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back tomorrow with more topics and panelists. Do not forget to tune in to Pustaka channel for our Day 2 Sarawak Annual Librarians Colloquium 2022. I will see you tomorrow. Signing off, it's me, Nova Izan. Assalamualaikum and take care.